Good Sunday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great this weekend. We got a bunch of news items that have happened over the weekend, as well as a bunch of reports coming from you. This is a Watchmen update. We got Fed governor to be fired if she doesn't have the decency to resign. This is what the president is saying. Also, the Defense Intelligence Agency head has been fired. That's big news out there, as well as an explosion and fire at a Louisiana plant prompting evacuations. We got the government buying intel, not intelligence, but the company Intel, or more accurately, bailing them out. We got 19 states activating their National Guards on the president's orders for border emergency. So this is a big news out there. Lots of National Guard troops being called up in order to be used on the border. The insect and bird apocalypse continues to be confirmed by this Watchmen community, but still not a single report from a mainstream media source. So this is something as big as everyone's seeing it across the nation. And lots and lots of reports, and yet have you seen a single mainstream media report? No, you have not, but you do see that here. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update in your comment. That gets it to the right place. Thanks so much for being part of the Watchmen community. We also do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts to get out of stocks and bonds and over into precious metals like gold, silver, or platinum. If that sounds like something you'd like to find out more about, there'll be a link at the end of the video for you to find out more. All right, a judge has blocked Trump from cutting funding to 34 cities and counties over sanctuary policies. Now, it doesn't block funding cuts to states, but again, we have a nationwide injunction done by a judge. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. After the Supreme Court has basically said that nationwide injunctions are illegal and beyond the scope of a judge, that is them grabbing power that they do not have, a judge ruled late Friday that the Trump administration cannot deny funding to Boston, Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles, and 30 other cities and counties because of policies that limit cooperation with federal immigration efforts. So the federal government says you must comply with these policies. If you come across somebody that is not supposed to be in the United States legally, you have to turn them over, or you have to at least advise the federal agencies that you've come across this person. Just imagine what would happen if you, in your home, decided to enact policies that nobody in your house could abide by the IRS. How well would that go for you? Not only would they cut funding to you, they would also throw you in jail. You don't have the authorization to not abide by the IRS. You can't. If you're in a city or a county, you can't tell everyone that they don't have to abide by the IRS. So you have to not only abide by the IRS, but you have to abide by the other federal agencies too. I think that we all kind of get how that's just basic common sense. But don't ever assume that a judge has common sense. Hopefully you guys get your coffee and you're all warming up for the day. We got Defense Secretary Hegseth has fired the Defense Intelligence Agency head, Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz. The firing follows a June preliminary assessment of the Defense Intelligence Agency, not good news, the Pentagon's main intelligence wing, regarding the Iran military strikes. So what exactly happened here? Well, apparently this lieutenant general was the one responsible to developing the assessment that ran counter to what the rest of the Pentagon came up with, and the commander-in-chief came up with this assessment and then released that assessment to known members of Congress that would leak it to the press. And that's exactly what happened. They sent it to Congress pretending like that this is something that you can do with classified materials, especially to people in Congress that are very unreliable with that intelligence. And so that's what they're being fired for, is developing this intelligence in order to embarrass President Trump, to make him look bad, and then leaking it essentially to known leakers. The U.S. government has taken an $8.9 billion stake, which is a 9.9% stake in Intel, the company, the chip maker, buying 433.3 million shares. Now, that sounds like an investment until you realize what it really is. It's a bailout. The United States government is just giving cash to a government, a non-government entity. The government's investment in Intel will be, quote unquote, a passive ownership with no board representation or other governance or information rights. Trump will also fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook if she doesn't resign. This is because she is being investigated, and it's been confirmed that she committed multiple counts of bank fraud on several mortgage applications, and these are egregious. This isn't like, oh, well, maybe it was just a boo-boo. The fact that in just several weeks, just like 2 weeks, you apply for 2 mortgages where you independently say that you're going to use that as your primary residence in both locations. And then she turned around and used one of those locations, turned it immediately into a rental location, and yet on the mortgage application, it is listed as primary residence. Federal Reserve Governor should not be making banking mistakes like that. It's not a mistake, friends. It's intentional. And she's not the only one. And remember, this is exactly what they went after President Trump for with the multiple felonies thing. Well, she committed multiple felonies here too. We got a massive fire and explosion at Louisiana auto supply plant Smitty's Supply in Roseland, Louisiana. It has prompted an evacuation emergency throughout the town, including a nearby elementary school. No word on people who didn't make it or people who have been hurt by that, but big news down there in Louisiana. Up to 1,700 National Guard soldiers set to mobilize in 19 states as Trump cracks down on others inside the United States and crime. These troops will be coming from 19 states from August through November. The list of the 19 states: Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. Kind of the states you'd expect to be volunteering their National Guard once called up by the president. Kate Fierce says Southeast North Carolina sent the shrimp recall to our kids group chat. We reported that just the other day. Middle daughter, the day before the recall, they went through 3 bags of Walmart shrimp. Now, North Carolina is not on the list, although none of us are trusting it at all. She fished the empty bags out of the trash for reference and in case they start to glow in the dark. They were radioactive shrimp. If they were in the affected states, which they appear that they were not. Yeah, hits a little close to home, doesn't it? there was cesium in the shrimp in those affected states. Charles says about ballots and voting. I wish that the United States would use the finger dye to identify the person that had voted that day. It is not designed to discover how they voted, but rather just designed to prohibit someone from voting more than once. We in North Carolina have had reports of people voting in Virginia and then voting also in North Carolina the same day. Lots of reports like that. And it's interesting why at every turn they resist any sort of accountability. A nation, if we were to move to declaring voting days to be a national holiday, one, and then also we implemented the finger dye like is used in many countries around the world. It's dye that sticks on your finger for a time and is an international symbol of voting. This is something that works. It's a system that works. You just have ballots and everybody shows up, doesn't have any ink on their finger, and if they are missing that finger, there's a policy of like what next finger they use. As long as people aren't cutting off their fingers in order to vote, it's a pretty good system. And I think most people would acknowledge that losing a finger just to vote more is probably not worth it. Matthew says, West Central Georgia. My camping friends whine about the mosquitoes still, but I'm not sure how many they're really seeing. The disappearing bug drama is real here. I can sit on the porch literally for hours and never get bitten anymore. What I've noticed though is that in the past 2 to 3 weeks, I'm seeing the bugs that should have been here earlier in spring, like gnats, black flies, and no-see-ums, but not nearly in the numbers that you'd expect. We've been here for 20 years. I have about 10 mature pecan trees on my 1+ acre property. We've been plagued with squirrels since day one. But this year there have been no squirrels. Zero. I haven't seen any squirrels this year. They're gone. My bats are also gone. I do see a few birds. I haven't been paying enough attention to them to make a valid observation about them. Friends, it's real. That's West Central Georgia. Where'd all the squirrels go? They're not at the nut trees, which is unusual. And lots of reports like that coming in. Have you heard a single mainstream media organization or news agency cover this at all or have any explanation? Nope, you haven't. Lucia says Fred Meyer closures in the Northwest areas are due to theft loss. Typical degenerated neighborhoods, areas, due to drug-related theft, homeless theft, entitlement theft. Walgreens have shuttered several Northwest locations for similar reasons. Now, it's not just the inner city locations. It's anywhere where people are grabbing stuff. Entitlement theft is actually super strong, even in suburban areas. If there's no enforcement, it just doesn't really matter. But if no one's being stopped, it's amazing how it's not because people need stuff, it's because people feel that they can do it without any repercussions. Unsafe environments have driven many customers to source supplies in other avenues. Some of these Fred Meyer stores are pretty old facilities as well. Perhaps that's a factor as well why they're shutting down. Sad days though, displaced workers, and silly politician commentary that is way too late to save these stores now. Of course, if you want somebody to not do anything, call a politician. Erica says, I have worked with a person from Japan a while ago, and he recently said that Japan will not accept American rice because of all the modifications and chemicals in our rice. Yeah, but they also don't accept rice from like a whole bunch of other countries either. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's, yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. But anyway, Tony says, I live in Springfield, Missouri. It's getting way worse here. I only saw one blue jay, a few cardinals, a cabbage butterfly, some wasps, and flies. It looks like we're losing our ecosystem here. That's in Missouri. Roger says, fresh fruit frozen. Inexperienced truck drivers deliver frozen goods and then go pick up another load. When they get to their pickup place, they wait for the produce to be picked out of the field sometimes or picked up at the dock. It kills a lot of time, but this is how stores get the freshest food to sell in the stores. If the driver forgets to set the trailer's cooling system from freezing temperatures to refrigerator temperatures, the fresh fruit will freeze. Experience and attention to detail could be causing the frozen strawberry problem. Yeah. Mistakes, inexperience, supply chain issues, or just not using refrigerated trucks at all. Yeah, just to save money. The Rock Doc says organic chicken and duck feed ingredients changed, but not reported. Nature's Best at Tractor Supply has changed their ingredients from organic corn, wheat, and soy to grain byproducts. Yeah, plant byproducts and more byproducts. There is no actual food in the bag. Cluck & Co. is still good there. Likely in response to tariffs is this change. This change is not reported anywhere on the company's website or Tractor Supply website. Be aware your organic meat might be likely being fed now organic byproducts. And the cheapest thing that qualifies as feed. So organic certification is only as good as the cheapest organic options out there, right? Because that's usually what they'll be fed. Be aware that your organic meat will likely be fed organic byproducts. Also noted, vegan pea and soy protein sources are disappearing online and in stores. Probably also due to the 50% tariffs on Brazil. Before someone says that's great news, your meat has to be eaten unless you're has to eat, I imagine is what they meant. Unless your farmer feeds no feed to the animals, which is very rare. Certified organic meats have to use these certified organic feeds. Nature's Best and Purina Supply are the only bulk organic chicken feed. So just heads up on that happening out there. Susan says Wednesday morning in Lawton, Oklahoma, had a guy steal a FedEx truck, crash it into a canal. Later, the same guy went to a Walmart, grabbed a boomstick from somebody who had it in their waistband and started popping off. Apparently, the only person hurt was the person who perished from a self-inflicted wound. But also here, birds are starting to disappear. I have a lot of grasshoppers, flies, and butterflies. I have a friend who has sold eggs for the last 5 years from her small farm, but the chickens are no longer laying and haven't for most of the summer. She is going to cut back the amount of chickens that she has as well. At my local grocery store, they had 8 small hamburger patties for $17.49. It is getting crazy. My garden didn't produce any this year. We had too much rain and now no rain at all. And it's too hot. Sadly, I got nothing to eat, so nothing to put away for the future. Blondie says, Northwest Connecticut, grow tomatoes, use some manure, and they grow big and tasty. Lots of as well. Cucumbers, right? Denise says, move an old kettle grill under wasp's nest and yellow jacket's nest to create a fire that smokes the nest at night. The insects will abandon the nest. I use this technique to eliminate a large nest nearly 20 feet up in a difficult to reach spot. And Kimberly says, we just got our renewal for our family's car insurance. We are in shock. The insurance has been going up about $100 per vehicle for the last 4 years. This time it didn't go up by $100 per vehicle. Our insurance went from $3,050 to $7,150, over doubled. We had no tickets or accidents on any of our driving records. When asked why, we were told there were many reasons. Difficulty getting parts, cars not being fixed, but rather totaled by the insurance companies because it's cheaper. Wait a minute, if it's cheaper, then why is the insurance rates going up so much? More uninsured drivers on the road. This was heart-wrenching, as we need our vehicles for our jobs. I spent 1 hour searching for a better price. Very thankful USAA insurance. They took it from $7,150 down to $4,600. My suggestion is to shop around. There are better prices out there. All right, friends, thanks so much for your reports. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold Group about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there on the screen. You can tap on that, fill out your information, and they'll get back to you. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.